You're listening to Real Coaching Radio, building a positive network.
What happened is Steve discovered his transit time was only 9 hours, which he's not holding the food in his system long enough to get the nutrients out of it. And I rethought what I said before was you could have a lot of inflammation in your gut, which you still could have, but let's go further north and look at what causes that inflammation is the inability to digest foods. And one of those is being hypochlorhydric, which means you're not making enough hydrochloric acid to break down proteins and enough pancreatic enzymes to digest food in the small intestine. So one of the things I'd like to add to your protocol is something called Hydrozyme, which is actually a petane hydrochloride with pancreatic enzymes. So if you do your part by trying to relax or calm before you eat, you know food is coming, you know your lunchtime is coming, or breakfast and dinner. And the second most important thing that you can do to help that transit time is to chew your food. So we're talking chewing your food 20 to 30 times per mouthful so that the food that you're eating actually is pasty before you swallow it. Kind of like a saltine melts in your mouth. It should be like that before you swallow. It'll give you a big jump on your stomach and intestines to grab nutrients out of the food you are eating. If we add in the Hydrozyme, and then we already talked before about adding in the beta TCP, which helps you absorb your oils, those two things alone are going to increase your ability to get nutrients out of your food. And that takes care of a lot of the northern part of your digestion, the part that influences your liver gallbladder, the part that influences the pancreas. So let's just stay right there before we go further south and start trying to do a whole bunch of supplements for that. That's my idea for you. And
Okay.
The Hydrozyme, what you would do is you would take 4 to 6 per meal, depending on how much protein you're eating. And there's a whole caveat to how to find out how much hydrochloric acid you really need. If you really want to get into that, we can go over that. But another safe way to do it is do 4 to 6 tablets every meal. And you should be eating 3 meals on this. Control it besides your 2 drinks. So that would be, at least minimum 12 a day for each meal. And I think that's going to improve things for you a great deal. Questions?
Okay.
The other thing is the NutriClear that's on the Control It program is a liver detoxer, but it's also a gut healer. So we already really have something in your protocol that's addressing inflammation. That NutriClear is used for IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. It's used for colitis. It's used for all kinds of lower bowel, toxic bowel issues. So what I would do is walk a really fine line, and instead of you doing a half of scoop of your NutriClear at your 2 midday snacks or your mid-morning, mid-afternoon snack, however that works out for your long days, instead of doing a half a scoop, let's increase it to 1 full scoop. So that would be 2 scoops a day overall, and that actually is the protocol for healing the gut. So we've got everything we need all at the same time. You should see some progress there.
Okay.
Okay. So that's that. If you don't have any questions on that, I just kind of wanted to review. I was actually did a webinar with Dr. McEnany from Biotics, and he had a lot of this Control It stuff to say. They incorporate that. But I found something really fascinating that he said, and he said 66% of the U.S. population is overweight. That's an awful lot of people. 35+% of the U.S. is obese.
Wow.
So approximately 25 million people have type 2 diabetes, and another 100 million people have what they call insulin resistance, which is what happens before you hit full-blown diabetes. That's a lot of people. Basically, he said anybody in the population that has 25 plus pounds to lose has a sugar issue, has a sugar regulating issue, and is becoming insulin resistant. And that would include my husband. It would include, I'm about the 20-pound level. My husband's about 25. That includes so many of us that aren't in that category of obese or. So anyway, the United States has a major problem, and one of my major concerns is people are being sold a lot of programs that underperform. They don't do what they promise to do, and if they do it, eventually you gain the weight back. So all of these people, there's something like $72 billion, and it's estimated that this year it's $100 billion being spent on weight loss programs.
You're listening to Real Coaching Radio, building a positive network.